Hi, this is David Hanson with WorldNetDaily.com. I'd like to talk to you about the OOO plan, also known as None, None, None. Last week, WorldNetDaily.com published an article called the OOO plan that I wrote in response to Herman Cain's 999 plan. Now, I'm a big fan of Herman Cain's rhetoric. I think Herman Cain is a fantastic communicator. I think he has a lot of great insight to add to the national debate, and I'm really excited to see his push in the media. But I have some problems with his 999 plan. For those of you who are not familiar with the 999 plan, Herman Cain is introducing a concept called 999. Basically, it's 9% national income tax, a 9% corporate income tax, and a 9% sales tax. And he would replace the current tax code with this plan of his. I think it's a step up from what we currently have, but I don't think it really addresses the real problem we face in this country, and that's national debt. You see, Herman Cain's 999 plan does nothing to curtail the dramatic spending that Washington is engaged in. And that's the real problem that we're facing. With all the increased spending that Washington on both sides of the aisle continue to engage in, we are headed for a dollar crisis. As more spending increases, the economy suffers from a dollar crisis. The bubble expands, and as the bubble expands, eventually it will pop. And that will cause prices to dramatically increase for all Americans, poor, middle class, and everyone in between. And that's not something I want to see. I don't think you want to see it either. So that's why I propose an alternative. It's called the OOO plan. And that basically means no income tax, no corporate income tax, and no sales tax. Now, of course, we're going to have to dramatically cut spending to see this happen. That means Washington's $1 trillion foreign policy every year, we're going to have to curtail that. That means domestic programs that are inefficient in Washington are going to have to be cut back and relegated to the states again. But I think we can do it. So it's going to take a bipartisan consensus. But I want to ask for your help in pushing for the OOO plan. I think we can actually build some momentum with this. I think it's a better plan than any of the other candidates, or most of the candidates that I've seen have really proposed so far as a specific tax proposal to really rein in spending. So that's why I'd like to encourage all of you all to check out the OOO plan at WorldNetDaily.com and start contacting all the different candidates. Democrat, tell it to Obama, tell it to all the Republican candidates, see if we can get as much support as possible for this plan. Now, of course, some people are going to say, well, without an income tax, how are you going to pay for federal spending? Well, you're going to have to dramatically reduce spending, as I said. But if there's certain things that need to be paid for, we still have plenty of excise taxes, we have fees, we have tariffs that Washington is currently available to tax with. And those bring in a significant amount of revenue already. But if there's a shortfall, I propose something that the Founding Fathers envisioned for this country and something they used in the early beginnings of this nation. And that was a concept embedded with federalism. The idea was that Washington shouldn't be directly taxing individuals. Rather, they should be taxing the state governments that are a part of the Union. You see, Washington was mainly focused with national defense, with the original republic. And that's why they wanted to put the tax burden on the states. And that's what I think we should do here. I think we should get rid of the income tax at the federal level and allow the state governments to be directly apportion their tax share for Washington. That way you put the tax burden onto governments and out of the hands of individuals. That's the way we should do it. So that's how I would solve the shortfall that may arise with any type of, repeal of the income tax. Now, of course, this is a long-term plan, and this is going to take a lot of work, but I think this is the right direction we need to head. So I'm urging all of you, let's make a big splash. Let's try to encourage all the Republican candidates to challenge. Will you support the OOO plan? No income tax, no sales tax, and eventually we can get rid of the corporate income tax as well. Because as we know, that's how we can build jobs again. Now, of course, the corporate income tax isn't going to be something that we want to curtail immediately, but I think that eventually we can get rid of a corporate income tax. However, I have one exception. Corporations that receive regulations and federal subsidies, they should be exempt from having any corporate tax removed, because as long as they're pulling from the American people, pulling from the taxpayers, they ought to pay some tax to make up for it. So anyways, check out the OOO plan on WorldNetDaily.com, and let's make sure we get some candidates to respond to the OOO plan. I think it's the plan that can help us fix our spending problem and fix our tax problem. Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.